Hey,
What's
I'm here
up?
with Aydamn,
Hello, hello, hello.
helping me do my little interview project for finding your voice through music. Kind of,
Anything you need help with, I got you. You already know.
I appreciate it. Kind of wanted to focus more on the impact and connection through music that you can find in terms of finding your voice. And I have a couple questions kind of focus on like, has anyone ever told you the direct impact that your music or performance had on them?
I would love to ask you that question because you showed up at many gigs of mine, whether it's been Kung Fu Nashville, like a video game arcade, to a private club speakeasy, like back corner vibe. Like
Yeah.
how would you answer that question?
I mean, I think you're one of the first DJs I ever really got into in terms of EDM music. I know that private club speakeasy I was going
Yeah.
to back in college.
R.I.P.
RIP. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was always a fun time. But
Yep.
I just loved the EDM music industry in general because it has this kind of community that focuses more on love and connection and being able to kind of build on each other that sometimes you don't find in other music communities or just in other industries in general. Um, which is why I kind of think that that's tends to be a little bit more of the music that you gravitate towards.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Community. What's a song that's gonna make everyone like just raise that vibration and make everyone just have the best day ever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I guess tell us a little bit about the background. I know you were just talking about some of the venues that I have personally met you through, but more the background of like how you got into music and where you've come from your beginnings to now.
That's a great question. Thank you for asking. I found music at an early age. I remember my grandma buying me. I'm dating myself, but my grandma buying me a radio that was able to strap onto my Huffy, and I was able to tune in. I was raised in church, right? They were
Mm-hmm.
so in fear I was going to be this crazy, terrible person. Anyways, that's a different story. It's a different podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But I had this radio and I found the oldies, and I will never forget Miss Brawley. I was in third grade and sitting at the dock of the bay, wasting time. Like I sang that to my teacher that sort of like didn't understand why I was different, but like she was like, he's kind of a problem child. I sang that song and she was like, oh, okay. This
Yeah.
kid is cultured, but it was from the radio. So I fell in love with oldies at a very young age. And then
Mm-hmm.
um, I was raised in St. Louis, and punk rock was very heavy in there. And I saw a movie called SLC Punk, and it's about Salt Lake City punks, like these kids that graduated high school and refused to go to college or whatever. But the first scene was these punk rockers jumping these rednecks.
Yeah.
And like these rednecks, like, I don't know, in the middle of nowhere. But like at the time, my mom was married to a redneck. And I was like, what is this punk rock stuff? And I found Green Day. I remember when I was able to record a cassette tape of from the radio. I remember waiting by the radio and just waiting till Basket Case Green Day came on.
Mm-hmm.
And I recorded that, and I found out that, oh, you can record a tape on another tape. All right, I'm going to record Basket Case for a whole cassette side of 60 minutes of the same song. So I fell in love with punk rock, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to play that. And so I did. My church, I was raised in church, and I got this opportunity that they needed a guitar player, they needed a bass player, they needed a drummer. So I kind of learned a little of all of it for the Lord.
Yeah.
And it really paid off because as being a DJ now, like I know song structure, I know I'm not going to transfer in the middle of a verse unless it's a play on word or like,
Mm.
um, so there's that background of me rebelling, finding punk rock, lying to my mom that I had church band practice when I was 15, and then going to an MXPX concert and it blowing my mind. And I went to that concert and I go, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life.
That's so funny. I feel like there's so many people in the music industry, myself included, that got into music because of church.
Yeah.
Um, Especially here in Nashville, but just in general, like, because I used to be an opera singer growing up, and that was more, I got into classical music and everything like that
Well,
through more religion. But
she was like singing songs like on top of the songs I was letting her hear in the car. Like she was literally singing like she already knew it and it sounded angelic. Like we need to get in the studio like ASAP. Like
absolutely.
get you like on a Celine Dion kick, like for
Oh
real.
my gosh.
For real though, you have a
I mean,
great
you can
voice.
catch me at karaoke bars, that's for sure. Miss Kelly's local watering hole. But
Or Aydamn Good Time Studio. Let's go.
I know I haven't been to any of your shows in a while. It's okay. I've been busy with school, so.
Understandably. What are you
But
doing, little cheese?
let's see where else I have. I was like, how does that impact you in terms of people kind of coming to you and talking about the music that they have seen you perform, or like the music that you're putting out, or ever, or like people that come and want to collab and anything like that, the kind of opportunities that your music tends to afford you.
It means a lot when you express like coming to see me and how much fun you had and like
Mm-hmm.
creating those memories. I feel like that's what life's about is like how can I give an experience to someone where they'll be like, I will always remember this night,
Yeah.
like it's up to us, like, because we're only here, right now. Like, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or after this, like,
Mm-hmm.
it's up to us to make the best of that moment. So when we show up and literally just give it our best, whether it's a conversation, a podcast, or a DJ set, like, you can't ask for anything better.
Yeah.
And so that lets other people be able to show up that way as well. And so it's almost like a chain reaction. So,
And it really is about the fans, because obviously there isn't much music out there that wouldn't exist, or that would exist if it weren't for people supporting it.
for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Historically,
Well,
it's always been an outlet for people, a political outlet, an emotional outlet. I know a lot of the history of music, just especially in the U.S., comes from the history of the United States of America. We
well
wouldn't we
said.
wouldn't have the genres that we do nowadays if we didn't have the history that we had in terms of bringing other cultures over here.
And what you said, like about like an artist, like without your support, I could just be a DJ in an empty room. But it's
Yeah.
like literally like the connection that we build together. It's all about that support group, and like the
Mm-hmm.
connection that you have with them. Like it's a personal experience if you let it be.
Yeah.
And so when like I feel like that's what shows are about. It's about that personal connection with the artist to the fan. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not even a fan, it's like a family member. Because a fan is like, oh, a fan, but like a family member, like, oh, that's my family. Like, let's let's lower this vocal part in the song to where everyone is singing in unity and everyone feels connected now, and
Yeah.
like and then you bring it right back on and it's just like, oh, we are here together. But like that feeling wouldn't happen without the support,
Yeah.
of the DJ. So
Both
thank you
mine.
for always like showing up
Yeah.
and being that.
I have such a great time going to shows and seeing different DJs, and just in general, like different DJs in Nashville have entirely different ways that they kind of communicate their music and different vibes. Like you always have more of some of those like chiller shows, like a lot of people come up and go just to have a chat with a friend, or just a cool experience. And then there's some shows that are like more intense, more hard style kind of bass music.
Yeah,
But
what time is the show and where it's at,
yeah,
and who's
exactly.
playing,
I'm like, what's the venue? Who's the lineup?
right.
um, and due to that, like, have any of those experiences with shows kind of inspired you to push yourself further in your music? Like, I know you
Oh,
do a little bit
absolutely.
more production kind of forward stuff nowadays, versus I think when you used to do more shows. But
Oh, for sure. And that's a great question. Like I really feel like what elevated my career performance wise was when I went to Austin City Limits and I saw Major Lazer, and there's like three guys and there was one
Mm-hmm.
guy on the mic, there was two guys DJing and they switched off, and I was like, you can DJ but also like get on the mic and like hype people up. I was like, oh no way. And
Yeah, if
so
you
like,
don't know, this is one of Nashville's hype men. He does DJing a lot of openings for really famous artists here in Nashville, in different genres like country, right? You do a lot of like opening for major country artists.
I mean,
At least you have in the past.
you know, if you would like to see the roster, aydamn.com/EPK. Um, no, I'm very blessed to have such a fortunate career where I had so many blessed experiences in my life. And it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't without people believing in my journey, like Dirk Bentley um, and, and Karen, like, so everyone matters and it's all about connection. And I'm super happy to be here right now.
Tell me about a time when music industry helped you kind of move through a difficult period of your life, like where you kind of leaned on music in terms of getting through something or like, moving to a new city for music or anything like that.
Oh, that's such a great question. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that came to my mind was that show that I lied to my mom and said I had church practice, but
Yeah.
I went to go see my favorite punk rock band, and went to that show, and I was like, that's what I want to do with my life. Like, I knew that I was a performer at that moment. I wanted to be a mechanic, but my mom's like, you suck at math, like, you need to be good at math. I'm like, all right, yeah.
I don't know if you need to be good at math to be a mechanic, but
Well, I don't know, but that's what was told
technical stuff.
at that age.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to just be aware of just like what feels right and what doesn't. I knew that going against my mom and lying was it felt guilty, right? Like, I didn't like lying to my mom, but I knew that I needed to do that. And I told her later, like when I grew up,
Mm-hmm.
still growing up, but like she was like, "Yeah, I knew you're going to go see your favorite band. You listen to them every day. Like, you've been talking about, can I go to this show? Can I go to this show?"
Yeah.
And that was such a turning point in my life.
Yeah.
You know, it is it always been like an interest, and when I saw it happen, I was like, I can do this too. That's why I'm in music.
Yeah.
It's because like, so I feel like that question's great. It's like that turning point was just like going against everything that I've been taught
Mm-hmm.
and everything that they were scared of me being, and just letting me be that person.
Yeah. And that's such a way to find your voice is like seeing people who are out of the box in their industry. I mean, you're talking about like that unique experience that you kind of got at that show and how you strive to provide that unique experience. I know you were talking about a show that you just did recently, right? Where you were kind of switching between playing and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I'm doing this new thing. I'm just like adding the getting back to the organicness of music. So I feel like the music industry is just going so much of a pre-programmed set, and there's nothing wrong with that. You have to have everything planned with the lights, have to have everything planned with the music,
mm-hmm,
the video and stuff. But I feel like a lot of music is losing the organicness
mm-hmm,
touch of it. It's so sampled and already done. So something that was has been on my brain since 2011 when I moved to Nashville to be a singer songwriter was, and I found DJing. It was like, maybe I can play guitar and DJ at the same time. So I moved back home last year for my grandma because she's sick, and so I got to fortunately spend another year with her.
mm-hmm.
She's still around. Grandma's the busiest person I know, and literally, like, I was like, all right, cool. Like, this is the time to do it. Like, let me practice playing guitar and DJing, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very hard and very much doing seven things. And if you don't remember to turn back your guitar before you go back to that DJ board, you're gonna hear a sound, you know. So like
Screech.
that's just one of them, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much beyond just the artist when it comes to taking stage that people don't realize in music industry. All the technicals. I mean, Jake does an awesome job with all of his production that he's kind of put
Yeah,
into a lot of the venues here in Nashville, but that's always cool to see for sure. I always love that. Um, yeah, it was like how it helped you navigate a difficult point in your life. We kind of talked about. I mean, how does the environment of the music industry help you like share your sense of self? You're sitting down and you're deciding to kind of compose something with somebody. How do you find that maybe something you're passionate about weaves its way into your music?
it's a great question. I'm inspired by this conversation. I'm inspired by how cold it is outside, how rainy it's been today and the
Mm-hmm.
past 2 days. I'm inspired by how I feel. I'm inspired by the people I surround myself with. So,
Yeah.
um, a lot of people have a different way of writing music, and I love that because it's a piece of art. It's a work of art. So, like, there's no rules. So, like, being able to create however you want is the most beautiful thing. A lot of people like to pull some samples from online. They pay a subscription. I'm not saying anything, but they'll pull some samples and start building a track off of already made samples.
Yeah.
That's how people write. To me, I find motivation and I know this because I went with a write with a student in St. Louis, and he's one of my homies, and he gets motivation from that. And he's like, man, what inspires you? And I didn't want to be like, oh yeah, like not that, you know. But that's what's beautiful about art. Like I said, is like there's no rules. So he gets inspired from that. But me is just like just here and now, you know, like
Mm.
let's be here now. How are you feeling? What are you going through?
Yeah.
Let's just get it out. And that's like a very much a like a therapeutic thing for me, you know,
Yeah.
just like a release of like, this is what I'm supposed to do, by the way. It's like, this is not forced, you know?
Music is therapy.
Yeah.
I always love, I have different playlists based on my mood. I'll have
Yes.
like angsty or in my room or, all these playlists. And I kind of use music sometimes to both like challenge my emotions that I'm going through. Like, I'm like, all right, time to get happy. Let's listen to some more upbeat music. And sometimes I just use it as an emotional release. Like, when I am upset, it's totally okay to listen to sad music, you know? helps you get it out, helps you, I don't know. I find I'm very explorative in terms of the type of music I listen to. I don't stick to one genre necessarily. So I do listen to a lot of different genres, which is always very interesting because it kind of like I get down this rabbit hole of say like Hispanic dance music, and all of a sudden I'm listening to classical Hispanic music. It's like you never know where music's going to take you. Nashville is such an awesome spot for discovering new music. Like I think Nashville just had that. I don't know if you knew they had a songwriter festival.
Oh, no way.
There was over 400 different songwriters performing this past weekend here in Nashville at like all different kind of venues. Um, and that's probably one of my favorite things. I mean, I love going to EDM and I love seeing DJs in person, but songwriter rounds are awesome because I know you were talking about kind of that music tends to be very mechanical nowadays, but it's so cool going to songwriter rounds and seeing people perform. You don't even know they wrote these really famous songs sometimes, and then you're like, oh, I wrote this song, and suddenly they pull up like one of the most
Right.
famous songs of all time, and you're like, whoa. So
Yeah,
that's always cool, and like
Nashville
you see
has,
the organic aspect of that.
for sure. Yes. And I feel like Nashville has a lot of that because, like, there's so much to offer here in Nashville besides what you think,
Yeah.
whether you come here to see country music or
Mm-hmm.
here to see EDM artists, I feel like that's really cool about Nashville is there's just so many outlets that you can just find like what you're looking for here,
Yeah.
you know?
I had a table 2 weeks ago at the restaurant I work at. It was a business party, and I was like, "Oh, like, what are you in town for?" And they're like, "Oh, well, there's a guitar convention." And I was like, "Guitars?" And they're like, "Yeah, like everybody, all these guitar companies come and bring their guitars and sell them, and everybody who's like in
What's it
guitar."
called?
I don't know. It was just a guitar convention.
Is
I
it
was like,
NAM?
I'm not sure. I didn't really look into
Okay.
it. I just know that they were talking about that. And I was like, where else would you find a guitar convention than Nashville? And it's like, you never know the kind of people that are going to be in music industry and like the ways. I mean, these guys connected over their love of guitars. Nothing else, but coming from all over the US and being friends just through that passion. I like car shows and anything like that. Any conventions you can find from different subjects. Thank you for all your insightful words and going with me as I just completely went off script.
That's how we do it.
That's the way an interview should go, you know?
We'll take callers next time. Until then, we'll see you.
Thank you.